Infinite peace to all my dreamers. Now, today is a great day. You know why? Because you woke up, you got out of bed, and you're alive. Now, I come to you with a message from the Spirit today. Now, I had 3 successive lucid dreams back to back to back, and every time I went to sleep in the same dream, just in a different position. So I call this dream scenario the 5th wave, because between the 4th and the 5th wave is when I received my revelation. Now, the dream starts off and I am at the top of a very, very, very large, what would seem like a slide, a water slide, right? And I could tell the water slide because it was meant, like it had a small amount of water at the bottom, but I could tell it was meant to have an immense amount of water go within this slide, but for some reason it was kind of empty. Like I said, there's only a small amount of water at the bottom, but nevertheless, I went down the slide, and as I started to go down, you know, there's people around me, and I could tell that they were people from my past. They were people from when I was in the military. And as I go down, they're all following me, but I start picking up speed, and they kind of start getting left behind. Now, eventually I get to the bottom of the slide, and no one's really around me. I'm kind of alone, and I walk out, and I see a pool sitting in front of me. I walk out the building, and I see a pool, and as I'm looking at this pool, my drill sergeant comes out, and he starts yelling and screaming. You know how drill sergeants are, maybe you don't, hopefully you don't, but he starts yelling and screaming, and as he's doing that, I just walk away, you know, I leave. And this is one of the times where I went to sleep, or I woke up and I went back to sleep, and as I came back into the dream, I'm walking through a path in the wilderness, and as I get through this path in the woods, and on the other side, I see a whole different water park or amusement park with a lot of water slides. Now, once I get to this second slide that I've gone on now, I start going down the slide, and I don't get off this slide until another friend, a female friend from my past, comes up. I can't remember her name, but her face is very familiar, so I can only assume that she was a friend from my past. So that's when I get on the 3rd slide, and then we meet another friend, and I move on to the 4th slide. Now this is the 4th slide, and each I would say the first 3, or the first slide was very different from the next 3, but those 3 after, the 3rd, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th slides were all very, very similar. They were all pretty much the same, not very distinct. They were very high in the air, and they didn't have a lot of curves. They were kind of smooth. They had a decent amount of water, but not a lot. They were very narrow. They didn't have much room for movement. Now, when I get towards the, I would say the middle, towards the end point of the 4th slide, I hear a voice. And this voice, I know it is to be an angel's voice, because I know angels are messengers in your dreams. So I hear this voice, this messenger, and he tells me that, he asked me actually, why don't you go on to the next slide? And I respond, I said, because I'm having fun on this slide. But then I thought about it for a second. Within the dream, I'm thinking about it. And then I'm like, well, it comes to a point where I'm like, well, you know, I don't know what that next slide has to offer. So eventually I move on to the 5th slide, and it ends up being the best ride in the park. The best ride. It has an immense amount of curves. The water is about 4 feet high, yet I'm going at this amazing speed. You know, I'm fully in control. I'm curving left, I'm curving right, I'm moving, I'm sliding, I'm enjoying myself. And I never would have enjoyed myself if I would have stayed on slide number 4. Now it's time for the interpretation. This dream is very obvious, it's very apparent what it was telling me. Oh wait, before I get to the interpretation, I forgot to tell you that as I woke up from that 5th slide, I was laying in bed, and I know I was laying in bed because I reached over and I looked at my phone, and I put my phone down, and as I put my head down, immediately after I put my head down, I closed my eyes, and literally there were gaming controllers, and I was holding them, and someone, something, some being, some spirit was trying to snatch them from me. But I wasn't letting go. I was pulling. I wasn't trying to let go of the game controllers. Now, immediately I woke up because when I can't even say woke up because I wasn't asleep. I literally closed my eyes for a second. Now I opened my eyes again and I'm back in my bed. Okay, within a second I'm back in my bed. Now I closed my eyes again and I'm right back in the same spot in my bed, but again I'm seeing those controllers and I'm seeing some spirit. I couldn't see the spirit, but I'm seeing something pulling these controllers from me, and I'm not trying to let go. I'm trying my hardest to hold on, and again I'm right back in my bed as this is happening. I'm in my bed. I open my eyes, I'm still in my bed. That's how I know it's a lucid dream. It's an out-of-body experience. You know, I'm in a different dimension on the same plane, but it's different levels, and it's very intricate how it works. I can spend hours explaining, but let me get to the interpretation. I don't want to take up all your time. So, my interpretation of the full dream analysis, I'm gonna go front to back this time. Now, you know, the first slide, it didn't have much water. It was very shallow because it was necessary for me to go down this slide so that I could receive nutrients, water. You know, water, you need water to survive. Obviously, it's the most basic nutrient. So it was necessary for me to go down this first slide in order to learn something, in order to be fed, in order to be nourished, right? But once I got towards the end of that slide, that's when I saw a glimpse. I saw a glimpse of much more nourishment, that pool, right? And the drill sergeant yelling at me, blah, blah, blah. That was just, you know, me trying to leave. That was a reason for me to leave. That was a reason for me to give up on the Army. I didn't like the mentality. I don't like negativity. I don't like someone yelling at you, trying to instruct you on what to do with your life. I like positive affirmation. This is why I've eventually come to this path. But like I said, I saw the pool. That was keynote that in the future that there would be much more abundance of water, but at the time that was not where I was supposed to be. So I go through the woods, I go through a dry spot. Now, relating that to my personal life, you know, the woods above physical, dry spot because the woods is like a place you can get lost in. It's a very dense amount of trees, a lot of obstacles that you have to go through. So that's the metaphysical, the obstacles I have to go through. So I went through these obstacles, and then eventually I arrived at the next water park. Slide 2, 3, and 4 were very similar because they were not steps up in my life. They were related and they were necessary for me to go through, but there was a time where I was making very little progress. I was instead trying to spend my time with friends. Now, this is good. That's why I was still, going from slide to slide. This was good progress, but inevitably, it got to a point where I got to slide 4 and I no longer wanted to progress. Now, I know what this slide 4 was relating to my personal life. Slide 4 was a point in my life where I was gaming avidly. Now, I've been a gamer my whole life, but it's gotten to a point recently where I've kind of lost the positivity in gaming. Like, it's kind of pointless. Like, I win, and if I lose, it's not because of me, it's because of my team. It's like, there's not a learning experience anymore. It's nothing good coming from it. Although I am going to school to be a game designer, but that's a separate path. But as far as actually playing someone else's game, it's like I'm losing joy in it. So it was time for me to let go. That was the lucid dream. That was the physical, was the game controllers, something that you can use to control your experience. Now, the metaphysical side of that would be, I'm using these controllers to try to get a feeling that I'm no longer getting, and the spirit pulling these game controllers away from me, whatever it was, pulling these game controllers, and I wasn't letting go, actually meant metaphysically that I should let go. I'm holding on too closely to these games, to these controllers. I'm holding on way too closely, and it's time for me to move on to the next point in my life. So slide 5 was the funnest slide that I had out of the whole dream. It had a lot of curves, meaning curves above, obviously, they're turning points. Metaphysical curves could mean it's something different. The reason that, I'm going through these curves is because it's a different experience. It's completely it's completely unlike anything that I've previously had before. And the reason the water was so deep is because I'm deeply nourished. Now, I believe this fifth point, this fifth slide, I'm beginning that now as I let the game go. I've been a gamer since I was 9 years old, and I have not picked up a game within the last 2 weeks. I have not eaten meat in the last 2 weeks. There's a lot of things that I'm starting to just let go because I feel the change in my spirit, and I go with the flow of the current. I don't go against it, because walking against the current, it will only hurt you. It will only hinder you. It will only slow you down. It's so hard to walk against the current. You might as well go with it, because if you know it's leading you in the right direction. And I know it's leading me in the right direction. So I've let that part of my life go. Now I'm on a path to where I would like to help others. This is the path that I walk now. And I believe that this is the fifth slide, and this is the beginning of something great. Thank you for watching. AsherBryan. I absolutely, positively, mandatory have to thank you, Julian Franklin, because you, sir, are an awesome person. Infinite love and peace to you, my brother. He has donated $50 to Asher's Dreams, and this will definitely be used to further promote and spread the message of infinite peace and love under the philosophy of self-wisdom gained through dreams and dream interpretation. Now, keep in mind, I never will ask for donations. I will never ask for donations. But it is greatly, greatly appreciated, the fact that you have done this, sir. And I thank you.